Alright, it's time for another nostalgia episode, and we are going to finish up the reset and restore process with the Latitude E6540. Where we were at last time, we were halfway through updating Windows on this particular device, and we ended up creating recovery media for the Inspiron laptop next door. However, we had a failed attempt. We got to the portion of the recovery where it asked to save user files. However, I told it no, do not save anything, and I just told it to skip plugging in a device, and it just failed altogether. So we are not only going to finish the restoration of the Latitude, but we are also going to do attempt 2 at the recovery of the Inspiron. So what I do have here is the flash drive with the recovery media and a flash drive in which I'll be backing up audio files or something. And then I have a second flash drive in which I'll be saving files onto as it requests. Both of these are green 16 gig Lexar drives, which should work with this machine. Because that USB 3.1 drive that we did for the first time, it just stopped recognizing it after the first boot, which was such a shame. All right, so now we are going to head into the recovery USB, boot off of that. And there's the Windows logo, or what's now considered the old Windows logo, because now there's a new one for Windows 11. I think Dell said this machine was compatible with Windows 10. And I believe the Vostro over here, which we'll be restoring next, I think it said that it wasn't compatible. I'll have to take a look. I guess it is compatible with Windows 10, but I guess I was wrong. Of course, we will do it in English. And of course, as we did last time, we have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the agreement and accept it. No errors. Let's move on. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Latitude here. And I'm going to show you that we still have some updates to do. And you can see it's always detecting too. Interesting. Including a preview of a framework from July of 2017. Sure, let's do those. Even though they're a little old. Okay, no issues we can repair. We don't care too much about that. All we care about is moving forward with the recovery process. Here's the part that everything screeched to a halt last time. We're going to continue. It wants an external USB hard drive. Can we insert like a USB, or do we have to use an external hard drive? Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's creating the backup. Cannot create data in personal settings. Can we get past this part or not? Looks like not. We will install a fresh copy of your operating system. Well, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to install a fresh copy of the operating system, and so far, we have not been getting anywhere. If we still seem not to be getting anywhere, what I'll be doing is I'll be installing the standard copy of Windows 10. Not sure what version it is, but I decided to put it inside of a jewel case. That's what many people call it from the 90s. Many pieces of software back in the day came shipped in this jewel case. Oh yeah, and I wrote this, the latest and greatest from Microsoft. Yeah, I say the write it down, because at the time I created this media, Windows 11 was not even announced yet. So I'll keep that on hand in case I need it. But for now, that's where we're pretty much at. We're pretty much at a standstill with this. Now let's see how it does against a much larger size drive, because I think 16 gigabytes is too minimal for a 16 gigabyte. So I mean, this flash drive is 16 gigabytes, but I mean, think about it. If there's like files that, like, let's say are over 16 gigabytes, it definitely cannot fit everything on this one drive. So there needs to be a sufficient amount of space, and it looks like that's all it took. Just needed a much larger drive. And we are getting somewhere. So it backed up everything from the installation. No additional partitions to back up on system. Okay. I'm gonna have to see what's going on here. Now here's the problem. It says a media driver your computer needs is missing. So that's a problem. Yeah, I think we messed it up. Oh, is this what was going on? It said no partitions were found. Could that be the error we had? Great. I'm going to have to grab that copy of Windows 7 again. I'm going to reinstall Windows 7 Home. We should be able to get farther this time. Yes. We're going to delete the original installation. The original copy. All right. And now let's get it installed. So pretty much I'm just supplying a generic copy of Windows 7 that I made. Because just like with Windows 10, I have it in both 32 and 64-bit architectures. I created CDs for both. I've never seen this error before. Windows saved the current session to the disk because the battery reached its critical level. Before resuming Windows, the battery must be recharged or the system should be plugged in. If you have not done so, please shut down and charge the battery or plug it in. So, I have never seen that error before with Windows 7. That is completely new. So, it did hibernate. So it says, we'll perform the image using the existing hidden computer image on your machine. So that could be what is going on here. There's no recovery partition on the hard drive. So that could be the problem. For now, I'm just going to download all the drivers for this computer. Now Windows 7 is refusing to recognize the drive. Now it's refusing to recognize USBs at all, period. Even on a fresh installation. So this is an even bigger problem. Alright, so we can't seem to get anywhere with that procedure. So, what I'm actually going to do instead is I'm going to write the folder to a DVD, and I'm going to use that. So we're going to continue without scanning. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to extract the files. So I'm going to extract the files from the folder. So let's extract all of the files. Okay. And we have the Win32 folder. Portable. And this is all of the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this over to a blank CD. I'm going to copy it over to a blank DVD, and we will use that to run the software. And if we have to do the same thing with all of the drivers, we will do that. What did I just pull out? An SD card? Is there even a DVD drive on this thing? Oh, there is, right here. Sounds just like my laptop. My old one. All right. Okay, let's see what happens. So I'm going to send to DVD. This is rewrite. This is DVD-R. I was probably waiting to be recognized, so let's wait for Windows to recognize it. Let's wait for the disk to show up in Explorer before we tell it anything. And let's see, there is a DVD, but it's not recognizing anything. Oh boy, we are stuck again, aren't we? Because no matter what USB flash drive I plug in, Windows 7 is refusing to detect it on this particular machine. Alright, so it does read DVDs. That's good news. But Windows 7 on here does not want to detect. It does not want to detect a DVD, no matter how hard I try. Not even a rewritable verbatim disk. It doesn't even want to detect it. I have determined the problem for what is going on with the Inspiron. So, we have been having difficulty with the recovery because the recovery hard drive is pretty much missing. The hard drive that originally came with the computer. That has all of the recovery information on it. So, when I tried to use that tool, it did not detect any of that recovery information, which I believe is essential for the recovery. So if it cannot find the recovery partition on the hard drive, then that unfortunately means that we cannot install the factory installation, which is very disappointing. So, what I'm going to do instead is, right now I've just installed that generic copy of Windows 7. It's unactivated, but here is what I intend to do with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom installation of Windows 7 specifically for this machine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to include all of the drivers. So basically I'm going to include all of the drivers and programs and everything like that just to get it all done, and I'll have it fully automated. So all I can just do is tell it to wipe the partitions, install the OS, then install all the programs. Put on Audacity, put on the VLC player, install all the drivers and everything. Just get it all installed from that one disk and be done with it. So, at least we're going to get as close as we can get to the factory installation, but not quite. So, for the Inspiron, we are pretty much at a standstill. So, we are going to see what we can do with the Vostro. So, let me show you the Vostro in its current state before we even go any further with the recovery process. So as I had mentioned already, it does have a copy of Windows 7 Professional, which I'm sure it's the organization copy because I did not see a Dell background or anything like that. I just saw the generic one. And yes, this does have its original hard drive in the system. So So I think we may be in good shape for this recovery. Procedure. Yeah, one of the alt keys does not work, but it's okay. It'll work. It'll do. But here again, this is attached. This again is attached to a domain, so there's no real logical way I could do the whole recovery initially. But let's see if I can do it within the recovery menu. And there's the Windows Vista boot animation. Okay, so it looks like there is a local user on here. It's named Dwayne. Okay, so we cannot do the recovery, but let's see if this even still holds a charge. Nope. The battery must have depleted in this one. Nope, so it looks like on this particular computer, the battery must have depleted. Alright, so as soon as these drivers finish copying over, that is where we are going to stop for this episode. So we did try our best with this again, but we have not been able to get anywhere with the recovery media from Dell. So what we're going to do instead is I've already installed a plain copy of Windows 7 for the time being, because what I plan to do is use these drivers that I just downloaded off of Dell's website for this machine, and I'm going to be using another computer to create a massive Windows 7 installation DVD that will come with all of the drivers pre-installed. It's not the one from the factory, but I'm going to make it close enough to the original factory installation. Yeah, I'm going to get it as close as I can to the original factory installation from Dell. And then once that is done, then we will move over to the Vostro, and we will do its recovery and restoration. And hopefully by next time, we should be done with the Inspiron. And then we can get to work restoring the factory installation on the remaining computers, including the Lenovo, not this Dell, but this HP, and then we can get to work on other experiments and everything else. So we're getting close to a full factory installation on all these machines. The Compact already has its factory installation, so we're not going to need to change anything with that. So pretty much that's where we stand right now, but we are slowly working our way there. So we're getting close to having all these computers with the factory installations, but it's still going to take a lot of time and effort just to get there. This Acer, however, is going to be a little more difficult because the hard drive has failed, so I might consider running it off an SD card. I don't know, but I'll see what I can do about the Acer, and then by then we should have nearly everything on their factory installations, which will be great news. So, until next time, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.